Hi everyone, welcome back to another video for Phantasy Star Online Blueburst. So today's video, it's going to be the start of a little mini-series that sort of accompanies the lore series that we did recently. So in this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to work through all of the side story quests in PSO. And I'm going to go through those for the reason of they do fill in quite a bit of some of the interesting lore for the game as well. So they're a nice little accompaniment to some of the main story. So with that, we're going to get started with it today. We'll probably do one quest in most of the videos, but there might be some where we do a couple of quests depending on how long they are. So we'll start out with episode 1. So we've got these 3 to start with. So the first one I'm actually going to do is battle training, because this is the one that makes sense to do first. So it's from someone called Zid. And it says, please find a hunter and bring him back. He went down to Raggle for a quest. Are you Taker? I'm Zid. I asked a young hunter, Ash, to do some research on Raggle. He's supposed to be done with the job by now, but he hasn't returned yet. Perhaps he got himself into some trouble. So I want to ask you to go to Raggle and rescue him. Not by yourself. Please go with that hunter over there. First of all, can you bring him here? I'll talk to you later. So, obviously as we've done some of the story, particularly the episode 4 story, we should be familiar with some of those characters that have been mentioned. So, we already know Ash. He's a hunter we ran into a few times I can't remember if we ran into him in episode 1, but we definitely ran into him during the events of episode 4 story. And we also ran into this guy, Kirik, as well. Are you Taker? It's the first time I've had a partner. Zid asked me to do this job first. Unexpectedly, he told me I'd have to work with someone else. I had to say yes, as he is my client. So Kirik clearly not too happy about having to be accompanied by you. Hello again, Taker. He's Kirik, your partner for this quest. He's a Huecast. He's a pro. Perhaps you can learn a lot from him. No, just ignore the fact that I'm level 200. Don't look at that. Kirik, I know you're unhappy, but I need 2 hunters for this. One has to retrieve the data disk that I asked Ash to get. The other is to help Ash return here if he's injured. This is my personal agenda. It has nothing to do with business. Ash is my cousin. I don't want to lose him. Please understand. I have no choice. What are you doing here? Please hurry up and find Ash. Good luck. So obviously a lot of this takes place, I guess it's meant to be quite early in your career as a hunter on Pioneer 2. It's hard to say where a lot of the side story fits in relation to the main story, but it's really useful to do because not only is there good reasons for doing it in terms of gear you can get, such as things like the Soul Eater and things like Akiko's Frying Pan, but it's also good for filling in some of the little bits of lore that the main story maybe doesn't tell you as well. Does anyone actually say anything unique here? I think this is just like fairly generic. Yeah, it's just like the generic things to say normally. Prepare yourself for the savage creatures of Raggle. If you're close enough, a cursor shows you which enemy you can attack. Don't let them surround you. So really the purpose of this quest, aside from introducing some characters like Ash and Kirik, the main purpose is to act as kind of PSO's equivalent of a tutorial. So Kirik will basically give you some very basic information about how to handle enemies, So it's kind of used as like a tutorial quest. If you are just starting out with PSO and you do want a sort of a guide on how to get started in the game, I do actually have a beginner's guide on my channel. So feel free to go and check that out. As if we actually got a Boomer's right arm drop. I'm doing this in very hard because I didn't want to one-hit kill everything, and also I've already completed a lot of the quests in normal. So I would have had to complete them all to re-unlock them all again. Be careful. Even if you defeat one group, another one may be hiding near you. Watch the radar, prepare for the battle so you don't get surrounded. So again, just a lot of tutorialization in this. That's a door switch. Press it. The door should become unlocked. I do find it really funny in these quests though, but they say that Kirik is a pro, but he never does a full combo. It never seems like he does anywhere. He just does one hit and then stops. Or maybe he's so pro that he doesn't need to do the full combo. In some areas, you must defeat all the enemies to unlock the door. Perhaps it's a security reason. Other doors can be opened through switches. If you're with your teammates, they'll watch your back. If you're alone, try to change the view often to look around. The slightly annoying thing about this tutorial if you're a new player is that he tells you all this stuff like how to look around but doesn't actually tell you how to do it. Because with PSO being quite an old game, if you're coming into it as a new player, you might try and use the analog stick to move the camera. Now on this server there is actually a mod they've added which actually allows you to use the analog stick for the camera control, but the way you move the camera normally is to use the left bumper. So you basically rotate your character and then press the left bumper to reset the camera, and that's how you kind of move the camera in PSO normally. What's wrong? Is it difficult to hit the enemies? So you actually get a choice here of saying yes, very, or no problem. So it doesn't matter at all what you actually choose here. He just gives you a very sarcastic response depending on which one you choose. So I'm going to say no problem. Alright. It's okay, as long as you aren't a liability. So again, in this quest it's very clear that Kirik doesn't really want to be there with you. He wants to do it on his own. So the plan is with this series is to go through all of the side stories. So we'll go through all of episode 1. Unfortunately, the way the side story is, there's a lot for episode 1. I don't think there's any side stories for episode 2. Apart from, there's a couple of slightly strange ones like City of the Heart. So we may try doing those as well. And there is some side stories for episode 4 as well, so we'll try and do those as well. Just to get the full picture of what's going on Ragol. Because although the main story does a good job of filling you in, the side stories do give you a lot of extra information as well. Not so much in this quest, but definitely for the later ones. They also introduce you to some characters that you might not have met in the main story as well. Here's a simple battle tip. Be mindful of the colours during the battle. The cursor colour above an enemy is a hint on how to attack an enemy. Taker, look at the action palette. See the outline colours? Notice that the cursor colour has a matching action palette colour. So a red cursor means press the red action palette key or button. Got it? What it means by that, if you don't know, if you're just either starting out, is if you look at this palette at the bottom here, on the right hand side, if you look at my heavy attack, which is the icon on the right, this one I'm highlighting here, you can see it has like a little red outline around it, and then this center one has a little green outline around it, and the rest has a blue outline around it. And if you look at Kirik at the moment, he's actually got a blue little tag on him, and that's because he's in range of my blue action palette button, which is Rester. So if I do Rester now, it'll heal him as well. So that's what it means by the colours. I'll show it again here with the enemies as well. Just for anyone who might be new to the game. So when these boomers pop up, you can see here, they're showing up with like a grey. That means that it's something off palette. So for example, that's my text on my main palette. But if I go close, it changes to green, which means that my green button, which is my normal attack, is in range. So that's the way it works. Who is it? So it looks like we found Ash. Looks like things are not going well for him. I don't know who you guys are, but be careful. They're still hiding around here. So again, this might be very early in your career, so this is obviously very early for Ash as well. He's clearly been overwhelmed in Forest, which is not a good start. I can hear something. A growl. And unsurprisingly, so we get the data disc, and unsurprisingly you get ambushed by some wolves. So now we can go back to Ash. Thank you. What? Zid? Now I know why you guys are here. He always treats me like a kid. I completed the quest, but suddenly they attacked me here. Monsters appeared and I dropped the disc. I couldn't do anything. I would suggest that means you're not trained enough yet then. Again, you find with the story of Ash that the whole story of it is kind of like a training arc for him. By the time you get to the end of episode 4, he's learnt quite a bit, but he still has a little bit of sort of beginner tendencies, because even in episode 4, when you're in desert, he gets lost. So there's always that hint with Ash that he's still got a lot to learn. How vexing. I appreciate it that you guys came to save me, but I'll take this boy with me. You deliver the disc to the client, then we can finish this job. Taker, train yourself. Become much stronger to impress me. Which again, if you've watched my video on how to get the soul later, you'll know that the sort of becoming stronger to impress him is a running theme with Karik. So with that, we can go back to Pioneer 2. Yeah, so it looks like all the people on Pioneer 2 just give you the default text that they do when you're playing normally. I'm recording this during the Halloween event, which explains all the pumpkins and the music. So we'll go and speak to Ash. Thank you. I'll keep practicing. Karik already left after receiving the Mazetta. Phew. I have never seen such an intimidating android. It was like the android was built for battle. This must be the disc that I asked Ash to find. Thanks. Ash is enduring the pain since he won't go see a doctor. You can get your reward at the Hunters Guild. Thank you. And that is battle training done. So that is the first side story quest done. So since battle training was a pretty short one, we'll do another one. So we'll do this one, claiming a stake next. So the client is Rakton's son. And the quest is, my father Rakton has gone to claim land on Ragel. Find him. So some slight issues with that, considering that Ragel is not safe for anyone to be on yet. Ah, here you are, Hunter. My father disgusts me. As soon as we arrived, he ran off saying, I'm off to stake out land. Staking out Ragel? It's too early to do that. We don't know much about Ragel. It's dangerous. Please find my father. Rakton is a greedy man. He's so self-absorbed. But ironically, his son is a very good-natured man. Rakton? Oh yes, I saw him. He was fleeing from some monsters in the forest. Help him? No way. Sympathy only gets you into trouble. Why do I have to save him? It's not my job. I have to train myself more. You do that. So occasionally you do get some NPCs that are unique to the quests. So again, we'll go back down to forest. And I guess our first thing is to find Rakton. So he's decided to come down to Ragel to stake out land because he's a landlord. Obviously, this is still very early stages with Ragel. We still don't really know a whole lot at this point in the story about what's going on. We certainly don't know anything about Darkfault at this point in the story, considering that we're just starting to go down to the forest here. So it's way too early for someone to be going down trying to stake out land. As you can see, I don't think many people would want to move into a house down here anyway at the moment, considering there's monsters everywhere. So probably a little bit too early for Rakton. As we come through here, we do run into this guy. Ah. I'm scared. What are these monsters doing here? I can't raise the price of this land if these monsters hang around. So I guess we know who this is then. My son asked you to take me back to Pioneer 2. Of course I'll go back with you. If you do me a favour. I've left 3 capsules on prime land locations. You go and recall all of them, then I'll go back with you. Why? Because capsules aren't cheap. Hurry now. The capsules are this way and that way. You haven't found all 3 of them yet. Are you really a hunter from the Hunters Guild? So, clearly he's been a bit of a pain and doesn't want to go back. Even though he's terrified, he won't go back until he's got all of his capsules back because they cost too much money. So this is obviously showing you the side of Rakton that he's just very, very focused on money and nothing else. Now, if I remember correctly, I think one of the capsules is actually where you start. Yeah, it isn't there when you first spawn and you have to speak to Rakton to get it to spawn. So there's the first one. It's actually capsule 3. I think the intention is that you go back to that last because you'd be wondering where it is. Having done this so many times, I can remember where it is. So this is a fairly routine quest. We're just sort of working through a forest, taking care of the enemies on the way, just looking out for those capsules for Rakton. What I like about the side story in PSO though is it does introduce you to a huge variety of different people. So obviously in the last quest we had Ash, who was I guess like a fledgling hunter. We had Kirik, who was a veteran hunter. We don't really know anything about Black Paper at that point. In this quest we've obviously met Rakton, who is always with the Hunters Guild because he's a Humor. He is a landlord. So there is a very wide variety of people on Pioneer 2. And I like that the side story introduces you to quite a lot of them. You know, there'll be some characters that you really sympathise with, there'll be some characters that you really don't care about. So Rakton is obviously designed for you to not really like because the way he acts is really arrogant. But being that his son has asked us to save him, you know, we kind of have to put that aside. And I guess if the only way he's going to go back is if we collect his capsules, then that's what we need to do. So there's another capsule. So we've got one more to find. I think Monists are one of my least favourite enemies in the entire Phantasy Star Online. I hate the noise they make when they spawn and they just waste time as well. So this brings us to the other end of the room where Rakton is. You can see he's standing over there. So very, very simple quest this. You know, it's really easy to find all 3 capsules. These are obviously right at the start of the side story, so they're designed to be really easy. There's our 3rd capsule. So we've now got all of them, so we can return to Rakton. Just a quick note about the side stories as well. Once you've completed a side story, you can't redo it. The only way you can redo it is to either do a different difficulty or complete all of the side stories. I think once you've completed them all, they'll re-unlock again. So just be aware of that. So if you are using a side story quest to farm something, just make sure that you go back to the lobby before handing it back in. But if you do complete all of the quests, then you can redo them. So let's speak to Rakton again. You have all 3 capsules. Now let's get out of this dangerous place. Hurry. Ah. So we'll go back to Pioneer. Does your dialogue change? No. Wow, he returned alive. What a lucky man. Well, lucky for him, but not really for us. So it's quite clear that Rakton is not really liked on Pioneer. Which, having met him now, I can kind of understand why. Rakton never learns from his mistakes. Since he's obviously obsessed with Ragol, just a little thing like this, so the fact that when you come back he's not looking at you, he's looking out at Ragol. I'm going there again once those monsters are exterminated. So he's very hell-bent on going back to Ragol. Clearly wants to get his money out of the planet. So I'll speak to his son. I'll make sure he doesn't cause any more trouble like this again. Please get your reward. So that is claiming a stake done. And again, since it was quite a short one, we'll do that last one as well. So the last one of the first 3 quests is Magnitude of Metal. So it's from Garen, a trader. Retrieve items that were stolen on a trip back from Ragol. Now, slightly interesting thing with this is the client. So the client is listed as someone called Garen. Now, you probably know there is a quest called Galen's Shop. I think, and I could be wrong on this, but I think that Garen and Galen are the same person. I think it's just a translation error. Because there's a thing with Japanese where R's and L's can kind of be used in place of each other. So I think Garen and Galen is the same person. Are you the hunter from the guild? I'm Garen, a trader. I want you to go down to Ragol and retrieve my lost items. It's really important. A business opportunity the likes of which no one has seen before. I'm sure I'll become a zillionaire when I get it all back. That useless ranger said that an android took them. Find that android and get back my items, understand? If you need any more info, ask that stupid, incompetent ranger. So this, I'm guessing, is that stupid, incompetent ranger that you mentioned. Garen's commodity? Ah, they're just mags. Garen happened to find out that mags could be found on the ground. He asked me to collect some for him. I accepted it for the Mazetta. I collected enough mags on Ragol to make everyone happy, but then I thought about the mags and the hunters who used them before. Mags are just protectors invented by a scientist. That scientist being Dr. Montague. But we're given one when we become hunters. It's kind of tradition. Mags are an essential piece of equipment for hunters, right? When I was thinking this, an android appeared and... It was right though. Garen shouldn't use them to get Mazetta. Also, a little interesting thing here is that if you played episode 3, you'll know that androids get renamed to humanoids. We will do an episode 3 lore breakdown at some point as well. In episode 1 and 2, we're still referring to them as it. So they don't really have their own identity at this point in PSO. That could just be a translation thing, but I think it's interesting. No, the mags weren't stolen. They voluntarily left. I'm not lying to you, it's the truth. Well, time to go and try and find some mags. So again, this takes place in the forest. So it's clear that Garen is trying to obviously use mags that are found on Ragol as a way to make money. That ranger seemed to hint that the mags were from previous hunters. Now, whether that means hunters who've died on Ragol and the mags have also been left behind, I think that is the sort of the implication. As if we've got another Boomer's right arm. I mean, the drop rate's not very hard for it, but to get 2 in 3 quests is pretty good going. Not that they're any good. So yeah, I think the implication is that these mags that are found on the ground, so to speak, are actually mags that have been used by hunters previously. The hunters have maybe died on Ragol, and the mags have been left there. So I guess the ranger didn't feel right about trying to profiteer from mags that had been taken away from their masters. And if you're new to PSO and don't know what a mag is, the thing that's floating behind me, the gold thing, that is my mag. So it's like a little robotic helper that helps your character out and provides stat boosts and photon blasts, which are like a big super attack you can use if you never play PSO. So as we get to here, we run into this android, which might be the android that they mentioned earlier. And again, if you've watched the lore playthrough, you'll be very, very familiar with who this is. Well, one's still missing. I was surprised. Excuse me, but have you seen a mag around here? So again, we get an option. We can say, no, I haven't, or I'm looking for it. So I'm looking for it. What? You came here to retrieve mags? No, I didn't mean to take them from the ranger. But they all look so sad, so I just started talking to them. And they look very happy. I just wanted to say hello. But they all wanted to come with me, and they chased after me. Then, everyone returned to their master's place. They aren't here now. Only one mag was saying that it would come with me, but it disappeared. Sorry about that. Are you going to look for it? Let me join you. Maybe it didn't stray too far from me. By the way, I'm Eleanor. Eleanor Camuel. I'm an android. Yeah, so this is your first introduction in the side story to Eleanor. Obviously, if you've played particularly the episode 4 side story, you'll be very familiar with Eleanor. She is essentially created by Dr. Montague as his assistant, and she accompanies Montague on a lot of the quests. Are you mad because I let the mags run away? I'm sorry. But please listen. I don't know if you're aware of this, but mags are intelligent. When a hunter equips a mag, it recognizes him or her as its master. Some mags are clever. They can protect or heal their masters. Moreover, some can do a lot of photon damage. Doc told me, but I forgot. Anyway. Mags will try to help you if you're nice to them. Mags feel very sad when they lose their masters. So I guess that is kind of confirmation that these mags that we're looking for are probably from hunters that have died on Ragol. Again though, I like how the story is delivered in this, where it doesn't explicitly say that to you. It just sort of very strongly hints towards it and lets you work it out. Excuse me, I don't know if I should tell you this, but... Tika, your mag is hungry. It's true. It's alive, it needs something to eat. And it's best to give a mag its favourite item. Each mag has its own characteristics and its own favourite items. Some like Monomate, others like Dimate. To feed your mag, open the menu window, select Item Pack, then Mag. Then select Give Items. That's it. It's easy. Try to know your mag. It grows as its master gains experience. So again, this tutorial, as well as being an introduction to Eleanor, is also kind of a basic mag tutorial. So sure, let's feed our mag just so Eleanor's happy. Please ignore the extremely low synchro on my mag. That's what happens when you're in control tower all the time. Tika, your mag is very cute. It likes you a lot, Tika. Huh? How can I communicate with mags? Well, because... I'm so sorry. I just don't know. I do wonder with this if she can communicate with mags because she's connected to Montague. We know that from playing the episode 4 main story that D-Factor is involved in the creation of androids and of mags, so maybe there's a link there. But it could be a specific thing to Eleanor as well. Oh, I just remembered. When mags get damaged, they charge energy to endure the pain. That charge energy can be converted to a photon blast. But I'm not sure. When the energy is fully charged, your mag tells you to use the power. The way that it tells you is it makes like a chime noise when you get to full photon blast energy. It's kind of a strange quest, this one, because you basically run around in a loop and you run back to the start. And as we get over this little hill here, you can see there is a mag. Hey, there it is. There, over there. Can you see it? So we got the missing mag. Hi again. I see. It visited its ex-master to say bye-bye. Now it's done. It says that it wants to have a new master. See? Mags prefer a master that loves them. Tika, please take care of your mag. Even if you can't hear its voice, know that it understands you. Mags are good partners to hunters. I know my mag. I can feel my mag because I'm very close to it. The really funny thing about this is that she says all this, but she doesn't have a mag equipped. I think they forgot that detail. There is actually a special Eleanor mag in the game as well, but yeah, in this quest for some reason they decided not to give her a mag. I don't think any of the NPCs actually use mags. I think this quest would have worked better if she'd have had a mag equipped. So with that, again, we can go back to Pioneer 2 and go and report to Garen, who's probably not going to be too happy. But we'll speak to this ranger first. I'm happy to hear that. The mags would be much happier going back to their masters. Well, time to break the bad news. So you're going to be a zillionaire, unfortunately. What? This is the only one? their masters were already dead. So this is where it kind of confirms it for you that the mags that you were trying to make money from, Garen, were actually from dead hunters. Anyway, you can get your Mazetta at the guild. Your job is finished. I lost so much Mazetta. I could have been a zillionaire. So clearly he's more distraught about the money. We just kind of pause for a second when he realizes that they're from dead hunters, so maybe there is some humanity in him somewhere. But he is still mainly concerned with just making money. Unfortunately, he's not going to make any this time. So with that, we can hand that in and get that quest completed. And with that, we will end this video there. So this series, we'll come back to it every so often, and we'll do a few more side story quests. There are quite a lot to go through, particularly in episode 1, but they do fill in certain elements of the story. These ones just introduce you to a few of the characters that you might encounter in main story, and ones that will recur during the side story. But it also gives you a little insight into what people are trying to do on Pioneer 2 while things are going on in the main story as well. So it is quite interesting to do the side story of the game. So with that, we'll end that one there. If you've got any questions or anything, feel free to leave them in the comments below. I tend to stream twice a week on Twitch and on YouTube, so you can follow me over on Twitch at Section Skylight. And I also post updates on the channel on my Discord and on Twitter as well. My Twitter is Section Skylight, and I'll leave a link to the Discord in the description as well. Yeah, as usual, hope you're enjoying the videos. If you've got any suggestions or anything, again, feel free to leave them below. But yeah, I will see you guys in the next one.